Hello, this is the Sports Counterpoints podcast on February the 25th, 2025. I'm GB. I got Brian and Coop with me. What's going down?
What's up?
Hey, how you doing?
What's up? What's up? Started with the hearty hello, greetings, trying to get a little professional, little spiel at the front of the show. So today we're talking pretty much basketball. Football's done, so we're basketballing it up. Going back to the Lakers Mavs trade as the two teams just faced off. Talk about that a little bit, see what the guys' thoughts are. And then another, I don't know what we're gonna call this yet. I thought two sides of the coin, debate, don't be late, debating, not hating. But actually we may just end up calling it counterpoint, so we'll figure it out. But in the
Debating, not hating
comments,
is good. That's
So it's a
good.
counterpoint given it's
yeah.
It technically is a counterpoint, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of, it goes in line. So yeah, feel free to, as you follow us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify, on, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and on the YouTube channel, throw your votes in there for what you want that section to be called. Debating, not hating, two sides of the coin, counterpoints, and maybe you have your own that you want to throw in there that we could potentially use. So find us on YouTube at Sports Counterpoints. But let's do it. So starting with the Lakers and the Mavs, two teams just faced off. The game I think just ended.
Yeah. So
Final score is
107.99.
thank you, sir. Lakers win. Let's get some stat lines for the guys that were traded. I don't think AD's playing, right? Because he's been hurt.
nope, he's out indefinitely.
Okay, which
Trained abductor, I think it was.
yeah, hope he's all right. He's had a
Well,
lot of injuries.
well, if you
So
want
I
some
hope
stat
guys all right.
lines for Dallas, I'll give you
Let's
Klay
do it.
Thompson 22-8,
Okay,
Yeah.
Kyrie 35-7-4.
it's a nice game.
Everybody else, I think Christie, who was on the Lakers, got traded. He had 10-1-6.
Okay,
For the Lakers, you had LeBron 27-12 rebounds and 3 assists. Low assist total for him. Yeah, Rui Hachimura had 15-6. Luka had a triple double, 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists.
not
And
bad.
Austin Reeves is continuing his scorching play of recent. He had 20 points, 3 rebounds, and 5 assists.
Yeah, so Lakers win. B, you kind of had the thought. Once you start, man, I'm kind of your thoughts going back to this trade. Now the two teams have played each other, although
Yeah.
Dallas isn't
So
at full strength.
I'm going to be the early naysayer. It doesn't tell me much of anything. When you look at how this sets up teams for both now and in the future, Dallas has Max Christie, who they use as going to be a long-term starter for them, and they have AD, and they'll probably get another big player in the offseason. So they put themselves in a good position, and they didn't have to deal with Luka's big demands for a big deal, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the Lakers, who some will look at and say, look, they've had a very positive record since Luka's been there, which is very much true. But they also had an undefeated record for the 5 or 6, 7 games before that, and that was without LeBron for a couple of games, without AD for most of that time because he was injured. And they were winning. So, it's I don't know if it's causation or correlation, but I will tell you this. You cannot win playoff games unless you can play defense, and Luka is still a turnstile. So, I can't get excited about a Laker team that refuses to play defense, even in this game tonight. They had a 16-point lead. The minute Dallas got hot, they got rid of that lead. And then when the minute they got cold on their own, not because of defense, and started bricking and airballing stuff, the Lakers, got their win. Playoff teams don't do that. Playoff teams are going to play hard defense. They're not going to give you easy shots. Playoff teams are going to be able to keep putting pressure on you. And if you can't get some consistent defense on one end, it doesn't matter if you can shoot because it's just not going to be enough. So, all I've seen so far is Luka do Luka, which is stat line looks great. That's fine. There's no stat line really for defense, man on defense. I don't think that this is going to go the way we want it to go unless Luka commits to playing championship style basketball, which leads with defense.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. You can't win the playoffs. You don't have to be great defensively as a team, but you have to get situational stops. And I'm not confident the Lakers can do that. Can get situational stops. Even before they even had Luka, they still had a problem playing defense. But my stance is still the same. I still think they're going to be in the play-in game, even though they're 4 games out of the play-in. I still think some way, somehow, something's going to happen and they're going to drop in the standings. Just looking at their schedule, there's some losses there, and I think it's going to be enough to put them in the playing game, which can be the 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th seed. So my stance hasn't changed.
Yeah, they've already dropped one
since then.
spot. They used to be the 4th seed. Now that's
Right.
semantics because of the way Houston works, but now they're the 5th seed.
Yeah.
And that's with winning most of the time. But
Yeah. They're 8-2 in their last 10, but I don't buy it as a real streak.
Yeah.
Glenn, any thoughts?
Not really. This is the first time I've watched him play at all, and that was about 5 minutes of basketball. So I hit a triple double. Luka did. I got to give you that. That looks good. LeBron's numbers were good. Austin Reeves can play. Like you said, there's got to be some defense in there though. Over time, I guess. Well, yeah, because the young teams, OKC, Cleveland, et cetera, they actually play defense. So you're gonna have to eventually. But I think you can probably. A lot of these teams don't play defense. You could probably get maybe a first round win. You can win a play-in game, maybe a first round win, but you're gonna have to play some defense
Depending
eventually.
on the matchup, yeah, you got to guard
Depending on the
somebody.
matchup.
OKC has I think there's top in the West and then top 3 in the whole NBA for opponents' points per game. So
Yeah, you know what? To be honest with you, triple doubles just don't mean the same to me because there's so many possessions now in the game. There's so many possessions in a basketball game. Triple doubles don't mean as much to me. You can get a lot of rebounds with all these bricks and long 3-pointers. You can get assists because there's so many possessions in the game. The game is played so much faster now. And then points, 10 points. You see guys jacking up threes all the time in these games, sometimes 60, 70 a game. So triple double, people have triple doubles and still lose by 20. That never used to happen. So, I guess the stat line looks good. Don't get me wrong,
But I can give you that, but
doesn't mean you actually, balled out. There's an MVP who used to always, a so-called MVP used to always get triple doubles and they lose. So, what it is.
Here we go. Already setting up the next segment. I don't know. I guess it's always going to mean something to me because of what it means for basketball. But still, you still got to play the game to do it. And they're not as common as they could be for the points you're making, which are valid points.
No. They're common now. Like hundreds of people have gotten the triple doubles now. It used to be just a select few. You look at all people who got triple doubles. I think one year it was like over 70 guys had it. They got a triple double. It was ridiculous. Everybody's just getting it now. So. Like I say, yeah, you got to play to get it, but with so many possessions, it's kind of easier to get it when you have a lot of possessions in the game. As before, you didn't have that many possessions, so that's what it is.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's going to be the same thing with when I know we're always talking NFL. I am anyway. I'm always thinking about it, but the stats are going to go up more and more because you get more games than guys did. You get more, the defense is penalized. So
you got 17 games now instead of 8, and then people start talking about 1,000 yards. You should get 1,000 yards, play 17 games. That shouldn't really be a huge accomplishment anymore. But
you can't tackle, right? So passing is going to go up because you can't hit, you can't knock the guys. So fair enough. Yeah.
I'll give you that. You got mediocre quarterbacks now that are, you got the guy like Geno Smith has thrown for more yards than Joe Montana ever did in the season. Geno's not horrible, but he ain't great, or good. You know what I mean? So.
That was a compliment coming from you. Damn.
That's what it is.
I hope he listens to that one piece, man. He just that's like a Hall of Fame jacket. Coop saying you're not terrible. Wow, because he has called that boy terrible.
You're hella funny.
All right, so let's try this segment out, man. I don't know. We're gonna call like I said, debating, not hating, counterpoints, two sides of the coin, whatever. But my thought was I was messaging the guys. I was like, I think it'd be fun. Some of this stuff that you guys agree on, to put one on the affirmative side of it, one on the other side of it to argue for it, right? So in this case, obviously the first person I thought of was Russell Westbrook in this scenario. As I've said before, if you had a drinking game on, if they say something bad about Russell Westbrook, you'd have had at least a shot every single show, I think. At least one. Some shows you wouldn't be able to stand up after. Just depends. So with that, I want to get your thoughts. So I don't remember who we said. Who's
it was
pro?
Russell Westbrook. I'm pro Russell Westbrook, and Brian is against.
I'm pro. I'm against.
I'm pro. You're against.
Oh,
yeah.
I could have swore I had to be pro Westbrook.
No.
Oh, we're gonna give you a hard one eventually, but
because the other one you were for the LeBron. Well, I'm not gonna say it now, but yeah. So Russell Westbrook, right?
Sold.
All right. So the question and
I get to be me.
The question was Russell Westbrook a top 5 point guard? And Brian is supposed to argue that he's not. So go ahead, B.
Do I need to argue? This is pretty obvious. Seriously, top 5 point guard: Steph Curry, Magic Johnson. Who else? Isaiah Thomas. Are we talking about right now or historically? Like, he's not even in the realm of conversation. I don't care how many points he scored or how many times he ran up the stats or how many times he threw bricks off the backboard so he could go get the rebound shooting at 20-something%. The reality of it is that that man does not help teams win. And that is the definition of point guards. When Naismith created the game, they decided there were going to be positions. The point guard was there to distribute the ball and help other players succeed and get better. There is no player who's played point guard who embodies the opposite of that more than Russell Westbrook, because he is 100% about himself. He dribbles the ball forever. When he finally decides that he's going to pass, it's because he's trying to get rid of the ball so he doesn't have a turnover because the clock is about to expire, and he wants the ball to be in someone else's hands so that the turnover or the miss goes in a different direction. His assists are all fake or phony. They're all because, there's a situation in which he runs into somebody and dishes off the ball or does something that's flashy for a dunk, but it is not because he is running an offense, because I seriously doubt any of us have ever seen him run an offense. It's not because he plays and puts people in a position. You talk about players like Steve Nash, who would sit there and try and figure out exactly where they want it in their hands. You talk about White Chocolate, Jason Williams, who to this day meets with other players and like, man, you were one of the best point guards I ever played with, because you would literally Jason Williams would say, do you like the ball to have the seams going forward or sideways? Like, how do you want to get it? And he would not only make sure that the ball got to him in the spot, but also in the exact place on his body, and for him to catch the ball and do that. Russell Westbrook does not give two cares about what anyone on his team wants the ball to do. He is a stat monger at its greatest. That he is definitely not in the definition of a point guard. He is and even if you want to call him a point guard, you darn sure can't argue that he's going to be a top 5 point guard. I would argue he's probably not a top 25 point guard.
Man, let me tell you something, okay?
Oh, I love it already.
Triple doubles is a point guard stat, okay? Go look at the list and see how many of these guys that you named off, the Isaiah Thomases, the Bob Cousy's, and Jason Kidds, who's at the top of that list? It's me, Russell Westbrook, okay? 202 of those, 2 of triple doubles. Those guys can't even sniff 150, okay? You could throw Oscar Robertson in there as well. And I'm also tell you something else. Who recorded the second 20-point, 20 assists, 20 rebound game in history? That will be Russell Westbrook. Top 5 point guard. Yes, he is. Let me tell you something. Tell me one of these guys is a 2-time scoring champion. Is it Curry? Is it Magic? No, that was Russell Westbrook. He did that as well. So top 5 point guard, it will be Russell Westbrook first, Magic second, Curry third, maybe John Stockton, Kidd, Isaiah, anybody else you want to pull after that. That's who the top 5 point guard list is. As long as I'm number 1, I mean, Russell Westbrook's number 1. Whatever you say, it does not matter. I'm the top of all these lists. Russell Westbrook.
Oh, this is getting on this show forever.
Your nose is poking me from the Bay Area, bro.
Nah, man, this is fantastic.
Can I quote? I'm going to quote this guy that I know, Jason Cooper, who 5 minutes ago said, triple doubles don't matter.
Hey, you bringing up oldish, bro?
Hey.
Why are you bringing up old stuff?
This is an argument for Russell Westbrook, okay? Triple doubles mean everything, okay?
In this argument, it does.
All right. I think you gave it a valiant attempt. I think your nose twitched a little bit. Your eyes kind of started to flutter.
Man.
I thought you got dizzy and blacked out while you're saying all that garbage. But look, I mean, yeah, it is interesting to see it could almost argue it's generational. Anyone who says that Russell Westbrook is good was not talking about his prime or talking about how they look at stats right now. And it's just a matter of stat accumulation. Get 20 points, that's good. The fact that you did it on 25% shooting and 1 for 10 from the 3-point line, no big deal. That is a generational thing, because one of the things that never happened when Isaiah Thomas and all these other folks that didn't get triple doubles is because they didn't shoot threes. They weren't just jacking up shots. They were expected to shoot for percentage. Who has the highest true shooting percentage of any NBA player ever in history, including all the different stats? It's Steve Nash. Steve Nash was not a guy who went over and chucked, but when Steve Nash shot, pretty good chance it was a good shot. It was going in the right place, and it was going to be made. And that's because Steve Nash is the kind of a very prototypical point guard who was there to help his players and his team succeed and do what he needed to in the situation. Magic Johnson was from that same ilk and could play other positions, obviously. Isaiah Thomas was in the same ilk.
John Stockton was like that too.
Well.
John Stockton he didn't shoot a lot, but he was very efficient when he did and did a lot.
And I hadn't even gotten to John Stockton because I just hate Utah that much, but he's absolutely another one of those guys who was a prototypical, ran the offense. Yeah. Everybody in the world knew what John Stockton and Karl Malone were going to do. Nobody could stop it.
Yeah, but did any of them guys receive the NBA season-long community assist award? He's getting Russell Westbrook's getting assists off the court and on the court.
Well played. Okay? MVPs. You want to know something? The highest career field goal percentage by a point guard?
Oh,
guess.
Stockton. Who's it? Stockton.
Shooting over 2,000 shots for a career.
I have no idea.
You'll never guess this.
It's good. I know this. I was trying to think of someone obscure that might be, but
wait.
Like Eric Snow or something.
You'll never guess this.
No, not Eric Snow. You said the best shooting percentage ever.
Someone obscure.
Yeah.
Wait, who do you play for?
By a point guard.
Who do you play for?
Play is arguable.
So what team was he on?
The Nets, the Sixers.
Ben Simmons?
56% from the field.
Totally makes sense. All he does is dunk.
Which is funny. John Stockton is 51%. He had 7,000 field goals made.
But he shot jumper, but literally all Ben Simmons does is dunk.
Dunks and close shots.
So
yeah.
Kevin Johnson at 49%, Steve Nash at 49%, Russell Westbrook's at 43%.
Oh, yeah, that's high.
So yeah, I like it. All right, so let's try this other one. I like this. All right, so we talked about this as well. LeBron James, all-time leading scorer, billionaire, done a lot for the game. There's no way you can argue that. Like, the man's had an illustrious career. He's had every kind of accolade you could have. However, do you feel LeBron James has ruined the NBA All-Star game?
I'll start this one.
And
absolutely
Coop,
not.
You are against this argument.
I am saying that he did not ruin. Yeah, he did not ruin the All-Star game because I don't know anybody that's actually going to the All-Star game to actually watch him. Or even when I hear people talk about the All-Star game, nobody talks about LeBron. He still kind of moves the needle a little bit. I get that. Him and Curry, they're still the two needle movers in the NBA as far as ratings is concerned. But especially, it's a young person's game, and most young people are not really, watching LeBron. I hear a lot of them talk about SGA and a lot of these other players. They don't really talk about LeBron like that. So I don't think he ruined the All-Star game. Matter of fact, I didn't even think of LeBron when I thought about the All-Star game. I just thought of the dunk contest and a lot of these guys who I don't even know that's playing in the All-Star game. LeBron wasn't even the first mention in my mind. And in my opinion, I just think that the twilight years of LeBron with the Lakers are being looked at a little differently than when he was with Cleveland and with Miami. I think he was more of a person who was on people's mind when he was with those two teams. And now it just seems like with the Lakers, he's just on the Lakers, but everybody knows, no title is coming anytime soon. They're not really a formidable challenger, to the Celtics or anybody else for a title right now. So I don't think LeBron is really that big of a subject. Therefore, I don't think he ruined the All-Star games. I really don't know anybody disappointed that did not see him play in this All-Star game that just passed. What about you, Brian?
Yes.
What do you think?
He absolutely ruined it.
Well played.
Game. And here's the reason why. It has nothing to do with votes or people going to see him. It has everything to do with the star player, the top player at any one point in time sets the tempo of what's going to happen in the NBA All-Star game. If you look at, years predating us, when it was Larry Bird versus Magic Johnson, those people, when they went to that All-Star game, they were going balls out. They wanted to win. It wasn't a whole lot of money for them, more sizable and relative to the kind of money that they made then than it is now. But that's not the point. That was a chance for the Eastern teams and the Western teams to ball out, play defense, dunk on people, be disrespectful, shove. They fought in All-Star games. They gave each other, elbows and hard fouls. They made sure that everybody who watched that game got to see the top talent team up with top talent and square off. And that was awesome. That was the reason that people came to see it. When it got handed over to Michael Jordan, he also went in the All-Star game. Like, I'm trying to get dunks. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to beat you. I'm trying to do everything you can. And then that got handed off to Kobe, who did the exact same thing.
100%.
Everyone always talks about how in the one game where they asked Kobe to miss it because it was Michael Jordan's last All-Star game, and Kobe said, "Damn that!" Went over and won the game and pointed at it was Isaiah Thomas, who oddly enough was the NBA All-Star coach in Michael Jordan's last year in the All-Star as the Eastern coach. But anyways, Zeke said, tell Kobe to miss it. He had none of that. Every single time the best player sets the intensity, and the intensity is what makes people either remember or not remember the All-Star game. When LeBron became the best player in the league, which he has been for quite some time, he was not about that. He's like, I'm not going to do dunk contests. I don't really care. I got all the money in the world. I'm going to go to the All-Star weekend and kind of casually hang out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. The intensity was gone. When AI was there, he was never the best because Kobe was in the same time frame. But when you had those players who had that, I'm going to gut it out and do whatever I can to show everybody in this league why I'm the best amongst the best. One of the things that stands out, AI almost always led the All-Star game in assists. It was his thing. Is everyone talks about it. He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, he doesn't do this. He went out there, he wanted to get a bunch of assists. Kobe did the same. So when LeBron took over as the star player, the lead player of the NBA, the intensity changed. And that's because he's just not that intense of a player. And I think that ultimately ruined the All-Star game.
Oh, bars. Okay. I like it. I think we lost Coop for a second. I like that concept, man. It's hard because that's the game I grew up watching. So, we were at that 2003 game and Jordan and them going to the last second and shooting it. I remember seeing Iverson and those old East teams versus the West teams, and everybody's out there to win it.
That's what made it intriguing. Like, you got to see the great players team up with great players, and at some point in time, it has just waned off. Now, some of this has to do with money, but some of it has to do with the tone that the lead player sets. And the lead player for several years has been LeBron, and LeBron is just not intense like that. NBA players in general aren't, but he sets the tempo.
Well,
he went over there. Think about Kobe in the in the Olympic game. Everyone always talks about what is he going to do in the first play. He went and laid out Pau Gasol, because when he got in those situations where it was best versus best, he did not think about it as an exhibition. He thought about it as a cutthroat game where he was going to go and just do what he needed to do and just go at him.
That was Kobe anyway. I think of those, like, I think of watching, my dad watching All-Star game, like Magic's last All-Star game, and how they were playing and the assists made, and just like everybody was so serious. And it's like the best of pickup basketball was what you got to see. And now and to your point though, I mean, it should honestly be the opposite, because now you have all the money. So you could just do it for love of the game because you have the bread. It's not like you need it for anything extra, but just straight bragging rights and
guaranteed
going out there and
contracts.
playing with the best of the best and passing the ball to KD and this guy for the dunk. So, yeah.
There's no good reasons for them not to be intense and all that kind of stuff. It's just, people take other people's lead on things, and there's always one alpha in any sport, anytime you can think about it. And NBA is more has streaks. Baseball's got a little bit of it too, but like football doesn't. It's the hot players, it changes every single year. So there's no way to focus in on one player and be like, for 5 years, the intensity of the league was based off of, whoever it was, right? Tyreek Hill or, whoever the hot player is for that year. But in basketball, there's almost always the alpha. There's almost always that one player who personifies the entire league. And even with LeBron kind of on the starting the downward side of the backside of his career, he's still playing excellent basketball, even though I'm not a huge fan. But he's never brought that intensity like so many other folks have done before.
It feels like, I was going to ask, because Curry seems to be the one to watch now, and I like how he plays, even though he's not like he'll take it to the hole, but his shooting ability is so crazy that it makes it fun to watch, and they could win a game at any time.
I mean, he is fun to watch. He does a whole bunch, but his style in All-Star games is also to kind of put on a show.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily intense, because in an
Sure.
intense basketball game, if somebody pulled up, even though he made the shot from the half court and took the shot, I can guarantee you that if anything other than a miss, Jordan would have been like, get his butt out the game. I don't care who he is, this, that, or the third, because it's such an off shot. But now that serves to be the best part of a watered down basketball game that's less intense.
Yeah, indeed. Coop, any last thoughts?
No, I'm good.
All right, word. I mean, that's kind of, we were just like kind of making this an easy one. So let's do the last few things, starting with the game ball. You guys got one for the week?
Brian, you go first.
Mine's going to Austin Reeves. He has been absolutely outstanding most of the season, but especially since the trade. I was talking to y'all before the show started. Since the Luka trade, Luka's got 14.7 points, 6.7 rebounds, and 5.3 assists, and he's getting better as he gets more acclimated. So this is not me trying to knock on Luka, because other than his defense, that's fine. But Austin Reeves has really stepped up with 22 points per game, 5.3 rebounds per game, and 6.2 assists. And he did almost that exact stat line tonight, showing consistency even when Luka got his triple-double. Even when LeBron looked good, Austin Reeves was still able to find his place and find his spot and do it. And he's been doing it pretty consistently for at least a month and a half. He absolutely deserves at least my game ball.
My game ball is going to the Detroit Pistons. This is an organization I've been clowning for years. Everybody wants to tell me how great of a player they get in the draft, and they're right back in the lottery the very next year with the top 3 or top 5 pick. But this year, they are the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. They have a 32-26 record, and they've won 8 of their last 10 games. So they might finally get out the lottery after all these years. So I don't think they're going to, make any noise in the playoffs. But the fact that they're most likely are going to make the playoffs is a huge accomplishment for this franchise. So, and I've been talking bad about them for so long. So my game ball goes to the Detroit Pistons.
Tom Gores is very happy right now.
Mine goes to Jason's alma mater. The Howard men's swimming and diving team takes second at the NEC championships. Very rare you just don't hear about a lot of the stereotypes about Black people swimming, but definitely a bunch of people from an HBCU with all the conversation around diversity, equity and inclusion, etc. Pretty dope just to see Howard doing their thing and making it happen in the swimming and diving world. So that was mine. Hogwash, man, what y'all got?
Hogwash, you got one, Brian? I don't have one.
Of course I have one. Of course I do. Go ahead, you guys.
He said he doesn't.
I don't have one.
He said he doesn't.
Neither you? Either you as well?
I'm gonna end up making up something. Go for it.
No, more the same. This week I'd like to point out that I've been traveling a little bit lately. My family is out of town right now. Had to travel while they were flying on a Southwest airline. They got the alert that Southwest had to do an avoid collision in Chicago with private jet, and this is right after the FAA got gutted with diversity. All these planes are having these issues. It's just constant. But I was struck by something. I was catching up with Last Week Tonight. I don't know if folks watch that show. It's awesome. If you don't, you should check it out. And at the beginning of the season, which usually happens right around the beginning of February, and after the new president is in this case, they do their first show, and it's a catch up of everything since the last season. And hearing the laundry list is stupid. The firing of people and then trying to get them back, the FAA gun, the DEI, what he's letting Doge and Musk do, so on and so forth. Hearing it in a 15-minute barrage was just frightening. You think about it every day. There's 4 or 5 storylines that are going on, but hearing it in the barrage was just so overwhelming, and very much frightening. The one, I guess, glimmer of hope is that Democrats are winning general polls across the board for midterm elections, which are ways away, and President Trump has the lowest rating of any president in history within 30 to 60 days of being put in office. So, people are starting to understand just how crazy it is. Unfortunately, it's too late. We got another 3 years and
9 months.
and 10 months of all this stupid. But people be safe. I know a lot of people who are traveling right now, and I don't think there's reason to panic because it's still a very few things, but it shouldn't be even this worrisome. I hope everyone's all well.
Mine actually, as I was thinking about it, is going to go to, and we're going to be involved in this too. So I'm calling myself out on the hypocrisy and ridiculous of it. NFL rumors at this stage of the season.
That's a good one.
Man, it is. We're closer to the Super Bowl than we are to anything else. Yes, the combine starting soon. That's fine. But these concepts, I mean, I'm a Raider fan, and you guys know every single year I'm getting every quarterback that's out. Tom Brady's coming back. We're getting Matt Stafford. We're getting Sam Darnold. We're getting Russell Wilson. We're getting Russell Westbrook. Matter of fact, we getting I'm getting Geno Smith. I get it. George Kittle's about to get a contract. This guy's about to get traded. Come on, man. Like, let's just watch. Your team's gonna trade up and go get Cam Ward. This team's gonna trade down. Like, bro, ain't nobody gonna tell you. It's all just speculation and going for clicks in an off season. Let it go, man. Just comment on what you can that's real, and let the rumors go, because it gets tiring.
Oh, I'm with you on that. I say I don't believe nothing from the day after the Super Bowl to the day before the regular season starts. I don't
Let's see
believe
somebody
anything.
get signed, man. There was so much that was happening. Let's see what happens. So
So I do have a hogwash. I got one now.
go for it.
It was easy. It's the Phoenix Suns. Um, this team is the 11th. They're not even in the playing game right now in the Western Conference. They're the 11th seeded team. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games, and it's just funny to me because Kevin Durant is on this team. He makes $51 million this year. Devin Booker's on this team. He makes $49 million. This is the guy that everybody tried to make me believe he's some type of superstar when they went to the finals like 2-3 years ago. And I just said he's just a shooter who had a great season. That's all it was. He ain't reached that height since. Bradley Beal, I forgot he's still getting checks. He's getting $50 million from Phoenix. And I don't remember ever seeing him play, maybe one game for the Phoenix Suns. So to have those three guys tie up $150 million this year and to be the 11th seeded team and not even remotely close to even challenging for a title, they're definitely hogwash. Definitely hogwash.
There. Damn.
He'll still plays. He's actually averaging 18 points, I think.
Oh, he does? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't play a lot.
I ain't heard about the brother either. Minute to win it. I'm going back to my usual. Just appreciate you all for listening. Thanks for checking us out, especially for the football fans right now. You got a little bit of ways before we can have anything meaningful on the football side. So appreciate y'all sticking with us.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. And also, if you have any, since it's all in NFL offseason, if you have any sports related questions or anything of our thought process, how we prepare,
Sure.
etc., any questions that you have, put them on our YouTube channel, and we'll answer them during our next podcast.
Good point.
Bye.
Man, there it is. We'll catch y'all next week. This is Sports Counterpoints, February 25th, 2025. Peace.